Hi, my name is Jen, and today I just wanted to share a few tips that I've learned on how to be more productive. I am kind of more of a type B person. I'm very relaxed, and that has a lot of benefits, but it can be really hard to get some things done because I'm so relaxed. So I have learned some tips on how to get things done when I really need to. So that way I'm not changing totally who I am, but I am still getting things done at the proper time. So let's get into those tips. So when I think about productivity, I think of kind of two main aspects. There's kind of the large scale productivity aspects, so making long-term goals and achieving long-term goals. And then there's also the short-term, smaller kind of day-to-day type of goals, productivity, and tasks. So I have a few tips for each. So let's get started with the large scale, kind of bigger goals. So the first thing that I learned that really helped me to be more productive with long-term goals is using the SMART technique. And I've actually created a video. I'll leave that link below so you can check that out. Using the SMART technique really helped me to create and come up with goals that I could actually achieve, and really showed me how to break apart the goal so I really understood it and had different steps that I could follow, and then achieve the goal and be encouraged to make more goals. I really recommend that. I think that technique is really, really helpful. So as I mentioned before, if you want to know more, please check the link down below. One other benefit that I got from the technique was just learning how to break larger goals or larger tasks into smaller ones. And I found that for me in particular, that really helped a lot. I was often really intimidated by really large tasks or larger goals. And so it really helped to be able to break them down into smaller pieces so that way they were not as intimidating and they were a little bit more manageable. And then also, once I started to achieve the little goals or the little parts, then I had a lot more momentum and energy going toward completing the whole goal. So the next thing I recommend is to use a planner. I started using a planner pretty recently. This is only my second kind of full year using a planner, but I've noticed quite a difference in my productivity, and that's also led to some other benefits elsewhere as well. So I definitely recommend finding some type of a planner and really keeping a detailed record of what it is that you're doing, your goals, and how you want to accomplish them. I found that for me, keeping a paper or a hard copy was much easier and much more effective than doing so online. But if you work better from online, definitely do that. All right, the next thing that I recommend is to make lists. So here I have a little notepad that I will oftentimes make lots of lists on. People use lists a little bit differently. I actually record lists in two different ways. If I'm trying to write down a list of things that I need to accomplish, I actually write them down in a notebook like this. That way I'm able to cross each thing off as I accomplish it, and then I can look back and see the things that I've accomplished. Once again, just building more momentum. If there's something like a grocery list or some other type of shopping list that I use repeatedly, then I'll keep that on my phone so that way it's in one place and I can add to it really easily or take away from it really easily. The next thing that I think is really important is decluttering. Now, most people don't really think about this when they think about being productive and different tips and stuff for productivity, but I think it's really important. I have just found throughout my life that the more stuff that I have, the more overwhelmed I can be. And also, if there's some cleaning tasks that need to get done, even if they're not high priority, they will distract me from a high priority task. That happened quite a bit during college. I would have papers and other things to do. I was really just looking for any excuse to procrastinate, and having a messy space provided me with that excuse. And so I was still able to tell myself I was being productive by cleaning, but it was really getting in the way and preventing me from doing what I actually needed to do. So I've just found that it's much better if I can just have my space decluttered and cleaned and ready to go. And then I just don't have to worry about a bunch of junk, or I'm not overwhelmed by different things. And I really have a clean space and a clean environment to get the things done that I need to. If you would like to learn more about decluttering, I really love Marie Kondo's The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. I think that's a wonderful, wonderful book and resource. I actually did a review on that, so if you would like to see that, I'll leave that in the description box below as well. My last large-scale type tip is to create routines. This is kind of related to the declutter tip, but I've just found that the more that you can break some of the tasks up and then just have a little bit more of a routine, the less overwhelming the tasks become and the more manageable they are. And so when you have tasks that really need to be done, you already know when basic, kind of simple, everyday things are going to be done and accomplished. So you don't have to worry about that. You can focus all of your attention and energy on the things that really need to be done by a certain time and deadline. So I suggest creating a routine or whatever for meals, having a weekly menu where you have pretty much the same types of meals every day. That takes away a lot of the guesswork. You don't waste as much food and money, and you don't have to spend as much time at the grocery store. You can just have one list, get those items every week, and you're kind of set to go. So that saves a lot of time and money. It also saves a lot of energy. I found that to be really, really helpful over the past year since I've implemented it. This also applies to cleaning. I think this is also really important. The more that you can divide up those tasks or have a plan for accomplishing those tasks, the better. I found that it really helps if I can have a few days each week where I accomplish different tasks. So rather than having all of them to do in one day, it really helps if I can break them up over a few days. So that way I can get laundry, dishes, vacuuming, and then deep cleaning tasks all taken care of relatively quickly and easily. And that has really helped to save a lot of time and energy. And once again, it keeps the space nice and clean, so that way I can focus my attention and energy elsewhere. Finally, I also think you can apply this to your wardrobe, especially if you don't really like coming up with outfits, or especially if you have a hard time figuring out what you're going to wear each day. I think that having a routine for this really helps. I would recommend just having maybe one bottom picked out for each day of the week, and then having two tops maybe that you rotate between for each bottom. So that way you still have some variety, but you're not having to pick out something totally different. And you can add other accessories or other things like that, like a different tie or a necklace or whatever else, if you want to add just a little bit more variety to it. But I think that the more you can simplify and the more you can kind of keep things basic and planned and ready to go, the better off you are. That can also cut down on all of the things that you have and you need, and that will save some space and money as well. So that's another bonus. I just think it's really important to come up with routines to take care of the tasks that you don't really care about as much, or the things that don't bring as much joy but still have to get done. So finally, we are down to the day-to-day tasks, and here I just have a few tips. The first tip is to try and take care of the tasks that are really small and short and easy right away. So I think somebody else came up with this and they called it like the 1 or 5 minute rule. And basically it says that if you can accomplish a task within 1 minute or 5 minutes, I think it was 1 minute, then you should do it right away. So for instance, going through your mail, that's something that you can do relatively quickly, and then it doesn't accumulate and pile up and become more of a task. Putting things away after you use them is another thing. That's just something very simple. This also applies to emails, kind of digital clutter. The quicker that you can take care of some of those things, both getting rid of all of your emails and then responding to emails, the better off you'll be. That way it's not anxiety provoking every time you go and open your email, and you don't fall behind, you don't miss out on things. There's lots of other benefits, but I found that by taking care of the small and easy tasks right away, that prevents me from having to put them on a list and then making my list even longer. So when I make a list, I'm making a list for things that have to get done, that take a little bit more time, and I can really focus my attention on those rather than a whole bunch of small little things. And then I can also better prioritize the tasks as well, because there aren't a whole bunch of things overwhelming me. So I found that this is really helpful. My next tip is to start early. This kind of has two parts. The first part is that the earlier you can get started, the greater chance you'll have of getting more things done and building momentum. So if you start out early in the day, getting dressed, getting ready, having a good breakfast, taking care of all of the chores and different things like that you need to in the morning, then you've already set yourself up for success. You've already accomplished a few things in the morning, and that'll build momentum to get more things done in the afternoon and evening. And I found that that has been very helpful. I am typically more of a night person, and I love to sleep in. So this one is hard for me, but I've really found that when I am able to get up and apply this rule and really try and get started on things earlier in the day, I've been much more productive and effective throughout the day. The other aspect of this is to schedule appointments earlier in the day. That way you don't have them looming over your head and you don't have to break up the day so much. It just gets everything taken care of all at once, and then you can resume kind of your normal day after that. And that has also really helped me. I know that when I have doctor's appointments or dentist appointments later in the day, I worry about them, I stress about them, they just kind of weigh on me. This tip I actually started to employ a little bit in elementary school and middle school, and that is getting ready the night before. I found that this really helps. As I mentioned, I really am more of a night person and I love to sleep in. So it really helps me to be able to plan all of the kind of smaller details the night before, so that way in the morning I can sleep as late as possible and I'm still ready to go and I'm not running behind then. So I recommend coming up with your outfit and kind of all of the details of the outfit the night before. I think this also applies to meals. Again, if you have the routine set up where you have the menu and everything, that really helps. And I also think it applies to having your bag ready or your things ready for the day. So whether that's your lunch or your suitcase or briefcase or your purse or your backpack or whatever it is, I think that it's really important to make sure that you have everything ready to go and by the door. So that way you're set and you're not having to worry about any last minute things and reminders. My last tip is to really play around with different things. Each person is different and unique, and different tips will be more or less effective with different people. So test some of these tips out. Hopefully a lot of them will work for you, but see which ones are most effective. For instance, I mentioned writing lists on paper versus writing a list digitally. There are different benefits to each, and so really just find out what works best for you. All right, I hope that these tips are helpful. I hope that you are able to be productive and get some of your goals and tasks taken care of and build some momentum. I know that that always makes me feel a lot better and encourages me. If you have any other tips, please leave them in the comments below so that way we can share all of our wisdom and experience. Also, if you have any other topics or videos that you would like me to cover, please leave them in the comments below too. I definitely want to be making things that you would like to see. And don't forget to check in the description box for the videos that I mentioned. I did a video on the SMART technique and also a book review on Marie Kondo's The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. I wish you the best of luck with all of your tasks and goals. I hope this video was helpful, and I hope that you have a great day. Bye.